Warhammer Online Age of Reckoning is, of course, a fantasy, massively multiplayer online role-playing game. It's based upon the Warhammer license from Games Workshop, this glorious license that Games Workshop has been working on for, geez, almost 25 years. We've taken that glorious intellectual property that is Warhammer, we've applied the mythic wizardry to it, and those two things together is what Warhammer Online is going to be.
When you're designing games, particularly when you're designing MMOs, you have to pick what your flavour and your theme is. Ours is a game that's all about war. It's about fighting. It's about survival. It's about picking up a weapon and counting for something. Therefore, when you look at the standard ways of putting a design together, certain ideas have to be challenged. If you don't use that as a central reason for your MMO, then you can have characters, I suppose you would consider them support characters, characters at the back, characters who have passive engagement with the game. We don't have that. Ours is all about aggressive engagement. So we had to look at things like healing classes and buffing classes and say to ourselves, how can they play a relevant part in the game world? We then looked at the Warhammer world and their history, and they really don't have any concept of passive play. And so what we did is we combined our two necessities. So when we took healer classes, we wanted to make them aggressive, capable of doing damage, capable of standing up for themselves, but also capable of healing. We wanted to make sure that every single person can fight. And the sort of attitude we took was, a ton of barbarians have turned up into your village and they're going to burn it to the ground and slaughter every one of you. So if you don't pick up a weapon and you don't fight, then you will die. Once we decided that was the core of what we were doing, then all the design flows through that. And it's represented in every class we've done, and it's represented in every race we've done, and it's represented in all the imagery, the scenarios, everything. You will be an active participant. There are 6 factions that players can play in the game, and what we've generally been showing are orcs and dwarves, greenskins and dwarves. Been very exciting, very good. People have seen enough of those screenshots. They know that we've got the big brutish guys and the short midgets down pat. So this time we've been focusing on humans and chaos. If I take humans first, humans are there because even if you make a fantasy game, everyone really wants to play a human. I mean, after you go to all the trouble of making pixies and dwarves and orcs, people actually want to play exactly what they are in the real world. I don't know why, it's just the way of things. And Warhammer is a really good human race. They're basically the Middle Ages Germanics done in a fantasy way. So they're covered in leather, and they have hot pokers, and they have really cool hats, and they have enormous staffs of fire and brimstone. The bright wizards have got burning tattoos on their arms. They're dressed in orange, these staffs with flames and smoke. Witch hunters with these cool hats, flintlocks. They've got these rapiers, and these amazing boots. Warrior priests in, they've got these little circlets, enormous hammers praising Sigmar. It's about magic. It's about the absurdity of the human race caught up in a fantasy world. It's on the brink of extinction. So the humans represent the bastion of humanity, trying desperately not to get destroyed and doing all the things that humans do. So everything they do to extreme. They don't just learn magic, they learn magic so that they could blow up the entire world. They don't just learn fortifications, they learn how to build fortifications that will then destroy everybody. They have no idea of the limitations they should put upon themselves, much like modern humans. Humans in Warhammer are the obvious done in an unobvious way. It's not just humans we're doing, we're also doing chaos, and chaos is wondrous. Chaos is basically humanity through corruption. It's about chaos energy doing that thing that happens to real people. Power seduces you. The concept of domination, the concept of becoming great at something and being personally idolized. Cult of personality through force of arms and force of magic. And how is it represented? Bubbles of pus, tentacles, extra eyeballs. You can tell who the people are who have submitted to chaos, who are there on a will to power kick because they're mutated, they're enormous, they're creatures of chaos. And that's what we've tried to replicate. We've replicated it in the way the land feels. We've also replicated it in the character classes. Great big armored warriors who have to be encased in fused armor stuck to their skin, because if they don't, they're going to pop out in all directions with pus and ichor. Sorcerers of Zeech on these enormous flying discs with teeth that rotate and spin. And the reason that only humans are corrupted is because only humans are actually going to play our game, and we associate with what we know falling. An elf falling, it might be poetic, but quite frankly, who gives a damn? A human falling, that's got emotion.
RVR, we're so excited about it because all of the things that we've been talking about for the last year are finally coming together so where you can really see them. Like, we've had pieces and parts for a long time, but until everything comes together, you really don't get a good feel of what RVR really is. So it's things like collision, where the big guys can stand in a line in front of the little guys behind him and actually protect the healers and protect what's going on. It's things like truly implemented tactics that help not only yourself but your group and your side. It's things like dependencies between characters within groups, so that if you have one type of character in your group and he has certain abilities, and he's actually going to enhance you in other ways that you wouldn't get alone. It's things like that that's finally coming together, as well as, of course, the systems for RVR that are coming together, such as scenarios, or the way that scenarios are actually implemented into the world, where you're in a skirmish area, and in order to maintain the consistency of the world, which is super important to us, you have to actually be in the skirmish area, and you're going to go to a place that looks just like the instance scenario you're going to enter. And from that point, you're going to enter this area, so it looks almost seamless to where you were. So you still have this feeling of, wow, I'm joined in with the world, and I'm fighting for that area so I can capture it for my realm. And then, of course, beyond that is the campaign game, which nobody's seen yet. Where you're fighting zone by zone, area by area to capture the enemy's capital city. So all this stuff is really coming together really well, and over the next couple months you're going to see more and more of this. Warhammer Online is scheduled for release sometime in winter of 2007.